Today we're counting down 20 vintage toys that just didn't sell. They obliterated the record books. This will be a lesson in toy history. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel. If vintage toys and their history are your thing, you're in the right place. So please hit that subscribe button to see more videos like this. And I want to thank today's sponsor, CAS, or Collector Archive Services. If you're serious about protecting, displaying, and grading your vintage toys, CAS has you covered. Their website is the easiest to navigate. Their staff is knowledgeable and friendly, and you'll even find them at almost every major convention in the US, where you can drop off your toys in person and talk to the staff. CAS offers expert authentication, professional grading, and crystal clear cases that make your collection look museum ready and up their value. Use my code Padawan10 at checkout and get 10% off your order. That's Padawan10 for 10% off. And right now, get free 30-day express turnaround on standard carded and boxed figures and pops. Visit their website at collectorarchive.com. Elevate your collection today with CAS. And now let's go over the top 20 vintage toys that broke the records. Starting at number 20. Transformers G2 Menasor Prototype Set. The year is 1993, and Hasbro scrapped Generation 2 Stunticons in the early 90s, with only a handful of neon prototypes surviving, making this an instant collector grail to find. And in 2019, a full team set, complete with their combiner form Menasor, hit eBay and stunned bidders, selling for $26,815. It proved even canceled Transformers could turn into cold hard cash. Number 19, Masters of the Universe He-Man 8-Back. First released by Mattel in 1982, this was the first run of He-Man action figures to hit the toy shelves, and sold on 8-back packaging, showing the launch wave of all 8 figures available. Mattel's muscle-bound fantasy hero still commands power. In 2024, an 80 graded sealed card fetched over $32,512.80 at LCG auctions for Eternia and the bank account. At number 18, the G.I. Joe USS flag that was released in 1985 by Hasbro. By 1985, G.I. Joe was the #1 selling toy in America, and when they released the USS flag, it became the #1 toy kids were asking for. Originally retailing for $88.99, that would be $270, making this a pretty expensive toy. At 7.5 feet long, Hasbro's aircraft carrier was already one of the biggest toys in history. But a factory sealed flag surfaced in 2023, graded at a U85, and the U grade means the toy was taken out of an already open box and the contents inside were graded. Anyone who was eyeing this was about to have the flagship of Joe collectors, many considering this a holy grail of toys. And in 2023, this sold at auction by the Hakes Auction House for $41,430. Big toy, big price, big grail. Number 17, Transformers G1 Megatron, released in 1984 by Takara and Hasbro Toys. The original G1 Megatron isn't very aesthetically pleasing, and when this toy was first sold in Japan by the Takara Toy Company, it had no backstory. But in the Americanized story, this was the leader of the Decepticons, looking suspiciously like a Walther P38 pistol. This remains one of the most controversial and coveted toys at the same time, with child advocate groups leading the charge on trying to get toys that look like realistic weapons off the toy shelves. Remember the Entertech water guns? I used to have those when I was a kid. So yeah, toys like those. In 2023, a sealed 85 graded example sold for $57,596.40 at LCG, proving that Biff should have done more than bet on sports. He should have bought toys. Number 16, Hot Wheels rear-loading Beachcomb prototype. The year was 1969. The Beatles were about to break up. The Vietnam War was in full effect. And Mattel was scrapping this rear-loading surfboard design because it didn't fit on Hot Wheels tracks. Only a few prototypes exist, making it the holy grail of die-cast cars. It was sold in a private transaction and not at auction to collector Bruce Pascal, who paid around $75,000 for it a few years ago, with current valuations hitting from $150,000 to $175,000 today. Number 15, Popeye and Olive Oil Tin Tank. In the 1930s, German toy maker Tip & Company made this classic during the Depression era when Popeye was popular all around the world. This wind-up tank starring Popeye and Olive Oil kept bidders trying to outprice each other until it sold for $105,000 at the Bertoia auction house. Proof that German tin toys and spinach pack a massive punch. Number 14, Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi Double Telescoping Lightsaber, 12 ABAC. If you watch my videos regularly, I talked about this figure back in January of 2025. And if you didn't watch that video, subscribe to my channel now and make sure your notifications are turned on so you don't miss any of my videos. The year was 1978 when this toy was first released, and the first iterations of Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, and this Ben Kenobi toy all came with lightsabers that had an extra tip that extended from the lightsaber. Those were quickly replaced later that year, making these figures both hard to find and very pricey to collect today, especially when they're in their original packaging. So let's fast forward to January 2025, when the Hakes Auction House sold this beauty that was graded at an 85 for $105,182. The force is with that bidder always. Number 13. Star Wars Early Bird Store Display. In November of 1977, before the Star Wars toys were even released, Kenner sold kids an IOU certificate in the now famous Early Bird figure set, and the versions of those are almost impossible to find intact today. But what's even harder to find are the cardboard store displays that advertise the set at retail toy stores. A surviving 70 graded example fetched $112,100 at Hakes Auction in 2023, the world record for an action figure display piece. Number 12, handmade Monopoly board by Charles Darrow. The year is 1933, and way before Parker Brothers mass-produced Monopoly, the inventor of Monopoly, Charles Darrow, hand-painted sets on oilcloth. One of these originals sold at Sotheby's in 2010 for $146,500. This one definitely passed go. This one definitely collected more than $200. Number 11, Yonezawa Tin Batmobile. In 1966, Japanese toy company Yonezawa released this tin Batmobile. Already a popular franchise in the 60s thanks to comic books and the TV show which first aired in 1966, you can definitely find these and collect them today. But what makes this one special is that it still has the box intact and the Batman behind the wheel, making this a holy grail for Batman collectors. This toy became the most expensive Batmobile ever, and in 2023, it sold at the Heritage Auction House for $150,000. And now we get into our top 10, and if you're still here, please give this video a like. That helps out the channel. What also helps out the channel if you become a member right here on YouTube or a Patreon on Patreon. Your support helps me keep making these videos possible. Just visit the links in the description of this video. Number 10, J&E Stevens Girl Skipping Rope Bank. All the way back in the 1890s, the J&E Stevens USA Toy Company made this Victorian-era cast-iron mechanical bank that was super popular at the time with both kids and adults. This girl skipping rope example, in superb condition, sold for $156,000 at the Morphe's auction in 2019. Number 9, Masudea Machine Man Gang of 5 Robot. In the 1960s, the Japanese toy company Masudeya released the Gang of Five robots, and the rarest to find today are the Melloway offers. This boxed machine man brought home $159,900 in 2020 at Morphy's auctions. Japanese robots rule. Number 8. A 1978 double telescoping Luke Skywalker on the 12C back. Remember when we talked about the double telescoping figures earlier in the video? Yeah, this is the same thing. Finding this toy today in great shape and in the original packaging is super rare. And in 2022, a mint example graded at 90 was found at the LCG auction house and sold for an amazing $162,458. Not bad for a farm boy who just wanted to buy parts at Toshi's station. Number 7. Steiff Teddy Girl. In 1904, the German toy company Steiff made the Teddy Girl bears, and one of the oldest surviving Steiff bears owned by Colonel Bob Henderson, who fought in the American Civil War on the Confederate side. In 1994, this toy sold for $171,600 at Christie's auction house, setting the teddy bear record for that time. At number 6, a 1963 G.I. Joe handmade prototype. The year was 1963. A full year before the G.I. Joe line of toys would debut to the world in 1964 by the Hasbro Toy Company. And G.I. Joe was the toy that invented the term action figure. Hasbro's original hand-carved G.I. Joe prototype, complete with sewn uniform, was sold in 2003 to a private collector for $200,000. Yo, Joe. Number 5. A 1982 Masters of the Universe Castle Grayskull. In 1982, Mattel would give the world He-Man action figures, but they also released Castle Grayskull that same debut year. Finding this toy today in great shape isn't really hard, but finding it in a pristine sealed box, yeah, that's hard. And in 2025, a graded mint 90 version was sold at LCG auction house for $209,409.60, setting a record for Masters of the Universe toy collectibles. Hitting at number 4, a 1932 Tipco Minnie and Mickey tin motorcycle. In 1932, German toy company Tipco was given the license to produce Disney products. This 1932 wind-up motorcycle zoomed to $222,000 at a Bertoa auction, the priciest Disney toy ever sold. Number 3, the 1912 Steiff Titanic Morning Bear. The Titanic tragically sank in 1912, and at the time, it was the most covered story around the world, with millions and millions tuning into the radio and reading the papers to uncover the story of what happened. Steiff produced black mohair mourning bears that had red rims around their eyes to signify that they were crying for the Titanic victims. The original 1912 run produced 655 bears and were stuffed with wood shavings, making these bears fragile and hard to find in great condition today. Well, one in immaculate condition did surface in 2023, and it crossed $250,000 in Germany, selling for $250,505 at the Ladenburger Spielzeugauction auction house. I love toy history, don't you? Number 2, a 1909 Marklin Ocean Liner, America. German toy maker Marklin created luxury liners in tin plate. This massive 38-inch steamship, complete with lifeboats, commanded $271,400 at the Bertoia auction house in August of 2024. And at the number 1 spot, Star Wars toy collectors probably knew this was coming, and yeah, it was on the thumbnail of this video. The 1979 Star Wars rocket-firing Boba Fett of the J-Slot prototype. In 1979, Kenner planned a mail-away Boba Fett with a spring-loaded rocket, until safety fears scrapped it due to a Battlestar Galactica toy where, unfortunately, a child didn't survive a choking incident when a rocket fired from the toy. This made Kenner decide to be safe and fuse the rocket to the figure and not have it fire. Although versions were sold in Mexico that had the rocket detach, but it still did not fire. surviving prototypes are the ultimate grail. In August of 2024, one broke every single toy record, selling for $1.34 million at Golden Auctions. $1.3 million for a toy. This toy. Well, not this toy, but one similar. And to this day, I always get at least one comment a week saying that they had a rocket-firing Boba Fett as a kid. Stop it. Just stop it. No, you didn't. You most likely had the Mexico Lily Letty version. So there you have it, 20 toys that sold for big bucks. Which one surprised you the most? Which one did you learn about the most? For me, it was the Titanic teddy bear. And to see more about vintage toys and their history, click on the videos on your screen now. And as always, my friends, thank you, and I'll see you next time.